I want to study in Singapore but I have no idea about the job scenario there. How hard is it to get a job in Singapore? What would be my rough salary package? How long can I work in Singapore on a work visa? How quickly will I be able to make up for my educational expenses? Well, if you're struggling with these questions too, then this video is for you. To be honest, getting a job in any country is difficult today, be it Singapore, USA, or even our home country, India. But education from a good university and a strong profile can really give us an edge over other candidates and help us secure that job in our dream company. In 2023, the Ministry of Education in Singapore conducted a graduate employment survey in NTU, NUS and other universities in Singapore. And this is the result that we got about the job scenario that is there in Singapore right now. For both NUS and NTU, 80 to 90% of the students enrolled in undergraduate engineering programs secured full-time job opportunities with an average salary package of 4,000 to 4,500 Singapore dollars per month. Similar salary packages and similar employment ratio was seen for business programs as well. For computer science based programs such as computer science engineering, data science, artificial intelligence, the employment ratios were slightly higher and the average salary package was between 5,000 to 5,500 Singapore dollars per month. I'll be sharing both these documents with you in the description below so you can go through it yourself. Now, even though I did not find any particular survey that was done for graduate programs in Singapore like MS and PhD, I can give you a rough understanding based on my experience and the people I have spoken to. For master's program in Singapore, you will not see the salary packages to be much higher as compared to the undergraduate programs. Reason being, your undergraduate education was from another country and the Singapore education for master's program is only for 1 to 2 years. So even if you're coming with a 1 to 2 years of work experience, you will see a rough increase of 500 to 1,000 Singapore dollars increase in salary from the undergraduate programs. So what did I tell you earlier, that for undergraduate programs, the average salary package was 4,000 to 4,500 Singapore dollars per month. So for MS programs, you will see the salary packages ranging from 4,500 to 5,500 Singapore dollars per month. For computer science programs, this is going to be slightly higher and you will see the range between 5,500 to 6,500 Singapore dollars per month. Now for PhD programs, your salary packages are going to completely depend on the kind of job you are going for after completing your PhD. For example, in academia, you will always see the salary packages to be slightly lesser as compared to the industry. So if say after completing your PhD, you take a job in academia as a scientist or as a postdoc, you will see the rough salary packages to be between 5,000 to 6,000 Singapore dollars per month. While if you go to the industry, then you can expect a salary package between 6,000 to 7,000 Singapore dollars per month. Now, this is only the starting salary I'm talking about, and your salaries will definitely increase once you keep working. Also, when it comes to PhD, this is just a rough estimate. Reason being, your salaries are going to depend a lot on the field that you come from, the funding that is available with the academia, and also the kind of position that you are working in the industry. So now that you have a rough idea of the salaries, the next question is, how long can you work in Singapore on a work visa? So once you have an offer letter from a company, the company usually helps you in getting the work visa. And there are two types of work visas in Singapore. One is called as an S-Pass and the other one is called as an Employment Pass or an E-Pass. Now the main difference between the two passes is that S-Pass is usually issued to mid-skilled foreign workers, while as E-Pass is issued to high-skilled foreign workers. So if you have a salary of more than $5,000 per month, then you will be issued an E-Pass or Employment Pass, otherwise you will be issued an S-Pass. Now both usually have a validity of 2 years. So if you're continuing working with the same company and the company is also happy with your work, then they usually renew your work visa for you and that's not a problem. Now, what happens when you leave a company? So when you leave a company, immediately your work visa expires. So if you want to continue working in Singapore, then the best option is to have an offer letter in hand. so that when you leave the previous company and your work visa expires, the new one kicks in immediately. Now in Singapore, it has become extremely difficult to get a Singaporean PR or a Singaporean citizenship. But that doesn't mean that you can't stay in Singapore for long. I know people who've been living in Singapore for over 10 years, they are well settled in Singapore and they are still on a work visa. And now coming to the final question, how quickly can you make up for your educational expenses in Singapore? So undergraduate programs in Singapore are extremely expensive. Reason being, they are 4 years program, right? So the total tuition fees plus living expenses for an average undergraduate program in Singapore is going to be approximately 200,000 Singapore dollars for the entire duration of 4 years. Okay. Now this is without the service obligation scheme. Most students who are studying in Singapore, they go for a service obligation scheme for their undergraduate programs. So if you are on the service obligation scheme, then your total tuition fees plus living expenses is going to be approximately 120,000 Singapore dollars for the entire duration of your undergrad program. Now, when we were discussing the undergraduate salaries, they were approximately 50,000 Singapore dollars on a yearly basis. Now, if we subtract the living expenses also from there, then it's going to take you roughly 4 to 5 years to make up for your entire educational expenses in Singapore. Now, this is a rough estimate. It can of course depend on how your salaries are increasing over the years, how much are you actually spending on your living expenses. So a lot of factors are there, but consider somewhere between 3 to 4 years or 4 to 5 years for you to make up for your educational expenses for undergrad programs in Singapore. But for MS based programs, the story is entirely different. MS programs in Singapore are only for 1 to 2 years and the total cost, tuition fees plus living expenses amounts to 50 to 60,000 Singapore dollars only. So if you start working in Singapore after completing your MS, then you will be able to pay up for your educational expenses in 1 to 2 years only. Now for PhD programs, the ROI is even better because when it comes to PhD programs, it is a completely investment-free degree. You're not paying any tuition fees and you also get a stipend to cover for your living expenses. In fact, I know some people who managed to save a little bit of that stipend as well, and at the end of their PhD program, they actually had some savings from it. So once you complete your PhD and you join the workforce, you're actually debt free. You don't have any educational loan on educational expenses on your head, and whatever money you earn is actually your own money. So everyone, now I hope you have better clarity about the job scenario, average salary package and the ROI on your educational expenses. Now if you have any further doubts about studying or working in Singapore, then you can join me for a one-to-one consultation session. In this 30-minute session, I sit down with you personally and clear all your queries. To know more, the link is in the description and in the pinned comment. And now, thank you so much for watching this video and I wish you have a fantastic career ahead.